So you want to become a bodybuilder, but what you don't understand is that, first of all, if you can't get your nutrition in check and you don't have a lot of money, don't be a bodybuilder. Because bodybuilders, for the most part, are broke. A lot of them. That's why they do a lot of things to make money, like try to promote stuff that they can sell, or, whatever they can do to get sponsors and everything else under the sun, because it's a very expensive sport. Okay, that's number one. Now, if you want to start this, one, your nutrition has to be on point. You're talking the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs and fats every day of your life for the whole year. If you don't do this, then you're going to fail. All right. You're going to fail because you have to be every 2 or 3 hours eating your food, so that if you do decide to go on gear, you're gonna get progress, all right? Because it doesn't just do anything by itself. It requires food. That's what it does. It helps you recover quicker, but you need the food to do that. So now we talk about that, right? Now, what you gotta understand is that this is a for life thing. It's not like you just get on, get off, get on, get off, be casual with it, because you're gonna screw up your body. Your hormones are gonna get out of whack. And yes, you can get off, or if you're young enough, I would say you can probably get off and get away with it and take a little bit of HCG and keep your body going. And actually, HCG is very key in this. If you're going to be on for life, it doesn't really matter. You can kind of play around with it. But HCG, if you can afford it, is a good compound to keep in their stack on a weekly basis. Usually it comes in like 5,000 units, and it's measured to be used with an insulin syringe. But basically, you would take 500 of that 5,000 measured properly, and if you know how to mix it and do the right reconstitute it, you would get 500, and that's what you would take like 3 times a week or twice a week of that. Okay, and that would just basically keep your testosterone levels naturally running, and you'll be able to continue being natural, technically, so to speak, with your body's production. What you don't understand, though, is that to be a bodybuilder requires consistency, and it's a long-term thing. So, and I'm not even talking about competing. I'm talking about just being Mr. Miami on the beach and, going through the process of all this. You're pretty much going to have to be on all year round with some maintenance times. Like, I'm not saying, like, usually you would do a higher dosage, all right, for X amount of time, maybe like 20 weeks plus or longer. And that's the other thing too, is you got to go for blood work. That costs money. It could be like $200 for some people, and insurance isn't there. You got to go to a lab and double check what everything you're doing, which you might want a coach for that to make sure you're okay. And I would recommend that, to consult with a coach to go over your blood work who's knowledgeable. And, if the blood work checks out, yeah, you can stay on longer. That's what you really have to go by, because you have to increase the dose to get bigger as you get bigger. Okay. Now, it's not a lot, but over time, you will have to increase the dose to improve. That's just how it works. So if I were to recommend somebody something and you're not basically going on stage, I would say do a safe spot till you're happy the way you look and stick there, and just improve upon conditioning those muscles, instead of actually trying to find ways to make yourself even bigger to get to that point where you're actually become pretty unhealthy. Most competitors out there, like big guys like Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman, that to stay in that, level of size is very unhealthy for you. And I mean, if you actually look at Ronnie Coleman, he's kind of paying for it right now. He had so many surgeries on his back, I think, from hurting himself. And he's also, you gotta remember, these guys are monitored by doctors and coaches. So they have all the best services in the world, but they also have the sponsorships and the money to pay for all that. So if you're just an average Joe and you're only making whatever decent money, you really shouldn't go that crazy with it. You should just look good for the beach. This is a forever thing, basically. So you're gonna eventually have to commit to TRT. You're gonna have to blast gear to a reasonable dosage to see the proper results that you're looking for. A lot of forums, they're pretty much crap. You're not gonna really get the best information off them. A lot of them are deceiving. A lot of them are misguiding, and a lot of them misguide you so that they can make money off you and make you paranoid, thinking you need all this stuff you gotta buy to do a cycle or something. But the point is that you only need to blast dosages for X amount of time, get your gains, and then you would go into like a higher level of a cruise, so to speak, to hold on to the muscle you gained. It kind of gives your body a break. It helps things reboot a little bit, and you don't lose your size so much. You might get a little softer looking, looking because you don't have like the extra, hardness from all the extra stuff you're taking and things like that. You won't look as freaky, but you're not going to lose your muscle, not if you're eating. So that's really the name of the game. And the healthiest way to do it is to stick to compounds that are very mild but productive. And that would be like testosterone, masteron, primobolan. Deca is kind of debatable. It's a great compound. It builds muscle. It definitely puts on size, but there's some stuff about it messing with people's brains a little bit, making them like either emotional or it penetrating like a certain part of the brain where it may cause damage in cognitive function. So, but it's also very good for joints. So if you were to take that, I would do it at the lower end and replace it with something higher, because if the dose is like 200 milligrams to 400 milligrams for the joint health benefits of the fluid it puts in there. So if you're going to live for years, throwing it a little bit, I don't think will hurt you. I just think if you're blasting it, you're going to maybe long-term have some issues there. But yeah, I would stick to test, mass, equipoise, primobolan, all good compounds. And, the cleanest way to do it, I would say, is use the test to get a good base of it, between 500 if you're just starting to maybe 200 if you're just starting, then 500, and then go to 1,000 if you really want. You don't need more than that. And with the other compounds, you can either take the test and drop it when you're ready to add something in. And I would just put the masteron or the equipoise or something else like at a higher dosage, because those are very mild. They don't have as much estrogen conversion, because you're really just using the testosterone to make your estrogen normal. And if you take too much of the DHT compounds, like some of the ones I mentioned, they can lower your estrogen, and that's a problem. So then to fix that, when you get blood work done, would just be increase your test a little bit, like maybe 300 milligrams, and then do blood work again and see what happens if it fixes it for you. You only need estrogen in the upper normal range. You don't need to go beyond that. I'm not a converter, so I don't even use the stuff. Most of the gear I do fixes like all my estrogen issues. I don't hold too much water, but some people blow it up on tests, and you might need to try a masteron and equipoise first in your stack, or combine them. And then if that's not helping with the water weight, or you feel like you're bloated still, then you might need some Aramidex, and you take 1 milligram like twice a week and see how that goes. If you have to add a third, see how that goes. But that's what I mean. You got to get blood work done. Some people just, if they feel good, they kind of know their body, what's working for them. They can kind of do that. But, if you're new, you probably want to get your blood work done by a professional. So I would stick to those. And then, there's the oral compounds. Now, the oral compounds are just like anything. You need to check on your liver. The thing is, when you get blood work done and you're checking your liver because you're taking orals, you want to wait at least 3 days without working out, because working out can actually skew your liver values and some other stuff like I think it's creatinine and stuff like that, because your muscles release a lot of they release things that basically make the test get higher, like results. So the doctor might think something's up with you, when there's really just the fact that you worked out yesterday. And what I would do is, if you're going to start an oral steroid, all right, my opinion, I'm not a doctor. I am just giving advice based on everything that I'm telling you here. It's what I've witnessed, seen, experienced. It's for entertainment purposes only. Whatever you do of your own free will. I have nothing to do with it, just so you know. So, but if you're going to do orals, I would not recommend, but in my experience, I guess you could say, I would say I enjoyed Anavar as a clean compound. It doesn't really hurt the liver much. It's broken down in the kidneys, but not in a way that, is that bad. So it's actually a very safe compound. They give it to all kinds of people prescription-wise, and same with Anadrol. Dianabol was supposed to be used, I think, for TRT at one point, but they didn't really let it go because it was, I think, too toxic. But I've used everything. I'll be honest with you. If you're not drinking and you're not over abusing, and you're only doing a couple weeks on, a couple weeks off, you shouldn't have too much problems with anything, like you really shouldn't. Some people push the envelope because they have to, because they're competing, and that's when, but they only do it for a short amount of time. See, that's what people don't get. Like when people are doing crazy things like right before competition, that's when everybody kind of gets like their body a little bit twisted up by taking too much of stuff, because they're trying to win, a big competition. So they have to abuse it a little bit. If you're just a dude, going to the club, which I don't recommend drinking if you're doing this, trust me, it's like the worst thing you could do to yourself. But if you're just a dude trying to look cool, trying to enjoy bodybuilding and just fitness in general, just almost, I would say, Anavar, Anadrol, Winstrol, Dianabol, don't go over 50 milligrams. You'll get more than what you need. You might even have to go that high on most of them. Oh, and the Winstrol, Anavar, and Anadrol have an 8-hour half-life. That means like when you take it, it's there like 8 hours. So you don't really need to take it too often. I would take it like 2 hours before your workout. Just do your dose and then call it a day. And a good way to take it so that your liver doesn't get hurt is actually, if you have it, put it in like water, let it dissolve, and then drink it that way. It'll spread it out and make it easier for your liver to filter it. And as far as like dianabol goes, like the shorter thing compound, it's good with food rather than before like a workout, in my opinion, because it's really good at glycogen loading. So I would split it if you're taking like say 20 to 50 milligrams a day. I would just split it up, like cut the pills or whatever you're doing, and take it with your meals. You know, just slice it in half every meal, have like a half. It'll really help you that way. That's the best way to use it, in my opinion. So the and that's a testosterone based. The DHTs like Anadrol, I think, and Winstrol, those ones are good pre-workout. They add a little bit of a boost, in my opinion. So that's really that with those. I mean, there's other compounds out there like Tren. There's other compounds out there like DHB. DHB has had so much bad things talked about it. Like it was supposed to be, it was made from like equipoise or something like that. It was like a derivative of it or something like that. It has to do with equipoise. I just can't remember. But it basically, you know, it's been said to be very liver toxic for whatever reason. I only tried it. I didn't really get anything crazy out of it, but it was like a big hype for a while. And I think it's overrated. Personally, the best thing I like, if you don't, because Tren's really crazy, you know, it's not as hyped up as people push it to be. It's just that if you're a hot-headed person or you're a very emotional person, Tren is not for you. That's all there is to it. It makes you unfiltered. That's the best way. And you're a little paranoid in a weird way. Like guys have said that they always feel like their girl's like cheating on them, I guess. I don't know. But it's really like that. It's Tren is weird. Like it's like if you're a person that is thinking, I want this guy to shut up or something like that, you know, say you're like angry about someone talking, Tren will make you say, will you shut up, please? Like that's what it does. It turns your filter off. Okay. So if you're a person that like always wants to hurt people or punch them or something like that, it's not for you, because you probably will do something. All right. Because you can feel it, you know, when you're on Tren, because of it's really strong, and it's like gives you kind of like you have a sense of it. So you want to stay away from that if you're crazy. Okay. Don't do anything stupid, especially if you have kids. The closest thing actually to Tren is, in my opinion, is Primo. Primo is like a clean Tren. It's not as grainy, but it still gives you a nice hard look. And if you combine that with a Masteron and test, and like keep your test low and up the DHTs, you get a really beautiful look on your body. So don't go crazy. If you want to try Tren, I would do like 50 milligrams every 3 days, because you don't need much. It's so strong. Trust me. You're talking to a guy that played around a little bit, and I've gone as high as like 700, and trust me, it gives you heartburn like crazy. I had to take omeprazole, I think, some heartburn medication, and I was also taking baking soda with water to kill all the acid it causes, because it really does that to you. And if you eat a lot of carbs before bed, you're going to be sweating like a pool in the bed. So, you know, it's really like that. You know, the strange dreams things that they talk about when you take it, I didn't really get that. I think if you just have a screwed up life, you're going to have messed up like nightmares anyway, you know. But if you're just a happy person, you know, Tren's not dangerous, in my opinion. I just think that, you know, it's one of those things that only belongs on the right person's hands. But yeah, you just don't want to mess with that. That's what I would do. I just know it's a for life thing. Don't ever think that you're just gonna try stuff and get off, because most people love it. It makes lifting weights more fun anyway, you know, because the results come a little faster. But, you know, I mean, me, myself, I was always in shape anyway. I just dabbled later in life. All right. I didn't dabble early. So I always had a good physique. I even have pictures of myself somewhere floating around in my 20s before I even played around with stuff. I always had a good body. It's just that after 30, you know, things change. You know, you kind of have to, like, you're either looking at TRT or just, I said, well, if I got to do TRT to get the, you know, the results I want, you know, and have the energy to train like I want, then I might as well just have fun. But I got plenty of knowledge and guidance, and I've been doing it for a long time, on and off since then. But I have a lot of gurus around me that are really smart and taught me all this stuff. So it's not like you just have fun with it. You need someone that knows what they're doing to teach you this stuff, or else you could, you know, you don't want to get like gyno and other weird stuff. So that's all I really got on this, and I hope you enjoy the video. All right. Oh, and my Instagram is Black Feather Fitness. If you're looking for coaching, weight loss, you can catch me there. You know, get a hold of me, message me, Get Fit. It's on there. I'll know you're interested in my coaching, and I'll be happy to work with you, depending on who you are. And I don't take all clients, but I take certain individuals who qualify, and that's that. So anyway, enjoy the video. Hope it was educational. Hope it was eye-opening. If you want to ask me anything, you can message me. See you later.